Hey folks, Jack here from Peach Guitars. Welcome to another episode of Board Talk. Now, following on from our previous comparison of a bunch of Tube Screamer variants, I wanted to apply the same kind of logic to a bunch of Klon style pedals. Once again, without further ado, let me introduce you to a few Klon type overdrive pedals today. But before I do so, let me please remind you to like this video, comment down below with your thoughts and pick your favorite by the end of the video, and make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Okay, so for this Klon-a-thon, if you like, today I've picked out 6 variants on the Klon theme. Now what's interesting with this one as opposed to the Tube Screamer variant that you may have seen that we did before is that there's actually some alternatives here that really play quite dramatically on the Klon theme. So you do see a lot of pedals that are very visually reminiscent of a Klon with just the 3 knob designs, but then you see some builders more towards the right end of the scale here that have really just taken this concept and blown it wide open and really kind of milked it for all it's worth, spread it in totally different directions than any other builders have been able to do before. So despite the Klon being a very mythical and very highly revered overdrive circuit, there's actually quite a lot that can be done to it in terms of manipulating it. It's famously a very versatile pedal as well, so it's used by a lot of players for not just an overdrive, kind of the main source of their overdrive tone, but also as a famous clean boost. That's kind of the magic of the Klon style circuit, is just how versatile it can be. And the different cross-section of pedals I've got here today really show that better than I think any other pedal comparison we've done before will do. For all the tones today, I'm kind of sticking to the format that we had last time. I've got a custom shop 59 Strat played into a Dr. Z Maz 18 with a little bit of breakup on the amp. I think that's where these pedals kind of shine at their best. The beauty of a Klon style pedal though, if you're unfamiliar with it, in my opinion, is that it's a little bit more dynamic than a Tube Screamer style overdrive. A Klon pedal sounds a little bit more open. I think it stacks better with other overdrive pedals, a little bit better in my opinion. And you can really use it to kind of emulate that natural amp breaking up type tone, which you will hear in certain clips with this amp. However, in other clips I've gone for a more traditional kind of smoother overdrive tone. And then in other clips, just to round out the versatility of this pedal, I've just gone for a straight clean boost kind of a sound. So it really will give you a full impression, I think, of all the magical things the Klon is revered to be able to do. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to start with this, which is the MXR Sugar Drive. This pedal's been around for a couple of years, and this was George Tripp's, famous pedal designer, his first take on this kind of mythical circuit. And while it doesn't claim to specifically be a Klon-style pedal, it's fairly obvious what its heritage actually is. And as soon as you play this, you'll realize that it's got a lot of those kind of very well-renowned characteristics of a Klon. So it's very touch sensitive. As I say, you can span the full range. You can use this as a clean boost or for more of a kind of mid-range heavy drive. That's kind of what I'm using it for today. I've gone for a moderate drive setting around 1 o'clock. And this is kind of the magic setting in this pedal. I think this particular pedal is that it really excels at that mid-range kind of gain tone. However, there's quite a lot of output on board here, so if you want to use it as a lead boost, that works very well too. Obviously, it's fantastic for pedal boards because it's extremely compact, and that was kind of the chief goal, I believe, behind designing it. And then, interestingly enough as well, you have a switchable buffer on this pedal. Most Klon-style pedals do have buffered bypass, which is not the detrimental thing that you might think it to be. But in case it is in your particular rig with the Sugar Drive, you have the option of either using it or not. Right, moving along to pedal number 2, this is the Way Huge conspiracy theory, and this was George Trips once again having a stab at a Klon style pedal. This time I think a little bit more explicitly. This is a little bit more obvious what this pedal is trying to do just in its visuals. And obviously it's under his own brand of Way Huge pedals as well. This pedal sounds a little bit more like it is basically copying a Klon sound, but with a slight touch on the theme. I think George Trips has got a great ear for overdrive pedals, and what he's done with this one is basically make it as harmonically rich as possible. Compared to the Sugar Drive that you're going to hear, I think this pedal has a little bit more of a richer, warmer tone, and it really excels at kind of putting forward those transients that the Klon style overdrive is known to have. So I've used this for more of a subtle, basically like a clean boost type of a sound, though you will hear that when I lay into it, it really excels at pushing forward in a very dynamic, overdriven kind of a way too. Okay, so moving on to the Klone from Ryra, and this is kind of the pedal I think nowadays is most associated with being a real quality Klon clone. They even adhere to that in their name of the product. So this one I do think actually sounds the most similar to those very famous references of Klon tone, forgive me, that we've heard before. So I think this can kind of do the lot. I've used it today for more of a smooth, slightly higher gain drive sound, which I think this works very well for. And as I said before, one of the best things about the Klon is the way it just melds with your guitar and amp setup. I think this setting really showcases just how well this pedal can do that. And if you want maximum authenticity in your cloning, if you want to go down that route in terms of getting as close to an original Klon tone as possible, I'm leaving all this in by the way, then I think this one will probably get you closest of the bunch. But that's just my opinion. You can of course use this in a bunch of different ways, as a clean boost, etc. But that really smooth gain tone that the Klon is known for, I think this pedal delivers in spades. Right, so this pedal is where things start to get a little bit more interesting, and it's not actually common knowledge that this pedal takes its origin from a Klon stable. So this is the Oxblood from Keeley, and just aesthetically, you can kind of tell that there's some different stuff going on here straight away. You've got the standard control format of level, drive, and tone, but then you've got two different switches here which dramatically affect the voicing, and I'm going to play with each of the settings in the clip that you're going to hear. you've got a fat control, which I think Keeley implements on a few of their drive pedals, and they do it very well. It really impacts the way the bottom end responds. And that's quite a big thing for this kind of overdrive pedal, because a lot of people complain that a Klon or a Tube Screamer style pedal often takes away quite a lot more low frequency than they would like. You can get that back with the fat control very easily. And then you have an entirely different setting here to do with the clipping, diodes and etc., the way that this thing actually clips, and that really changes this from a very mild-mannered kind of transparent overdrive into something a lot more aggressive if you want it to be. So the Oxblood, I think, is a great alternative if you've never quite settled on what Klon can do for you before. This will give you plenty more options than the standard Klon style circuit will give you, but it still adheres to the magical tone of the original as well.
Klon so much it doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Yeah, Klon, clone and tone keep getting mixed up quite readily. Okay, so moving on to Wampla's offering, this is the Tumnus Deluxe. I'm a big fan of the original small format Tumnus as well, but the Tumnus Deluxe kind of exemplifies best what can be done with this circuit when you add a few more features. So Brian Wampler decided to add a full 3-band EQ to this pedal. I've left it fairly neutral in this clip, but you can imagine just by listening to it that by playing around with this EQ, any of those unpleasantries that you might find of a standard style Klon overdrive can easily be remedied with the EQ alone. And then you also have a normal and hot switch to basically affect the gain range of this pedal as well. You've got this switch on the side, which, same as the MXR pedal does, either eliminates or adds back in the buffered bypass, which I think is very useful. The buffer that's built into these pedals is usually a very, very high quality, and it's a great thing to have in your signal chain, but once again, if you don't want it there, you can easily remove it. You've also got top-mounted jacks, which is a very, very big addition to a pedal board setup if that kind of thing affects you. And this deluxe version basically just expands on the theme that Wampler set out to achieve, which is to kind of clone a Klon, if you like, but I think just inherently this has quite a lot more low end. So if that's the kind of thing that affects you and you want a richer, bigger sounding overdrive pedal, the Tumnus or the deluxe version here is going to deliver that very well for you. Okay, so last of all is this, which is the Architect version 3 from Matthews Effects. Obviously, just visually alone, you can tell this looks nothing like what it claims to be, which is a Klon-style overdrive. In fact, it even says so on the back of this pedal. And also on the back of this pedal, interestingly enough, there's a bunch of instructions, and that kind of will lead you in the direction I think is important to understand about this pedal, is that it is quite complicated. You've got a full 3-band EQ, you've also got a built-in switchable boost. Now the way this operates is quite unusual. Just by using the pedal in its standalone kind of on mode, you find that this doesn't really sound that clonny. It's got quite little gain, and it's not until you introduce that boost section with this second foot switch that it kind of gets close to what some of these other pedals can do. I actually really like that because I think this makes full use of the capabilities of the Klon style circuit, so you can go everywhere from very subtle clean boost, which you are going to hear in this clip, all the way to full blaring overdrive, and it's switchable. So I think that what Matthews Effects have actually done is kind of broaden the horizons of this pedal. So if you've only ever thought of one particular Klon tone in your head, this will challenge those perceptions and give you a bunch more that you can choose between, and more importantly, switch between in a very pragmatic kind of a fashion. Alright, so there we are, a little bit of a roundup, 6 different Klon type pedals. Hopefully the clips that you'll have heard in this video will exemplify just how versatile the Klon circuit is. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, as always, please leave a like down below. I want to know in the comments which of these 6 pedals is your personal favourite, which one you think works best for you, and also let me know if you think there's any that I've missed out here. If you want to find out any more information about these pedals, or indeed any of the other products from any of these brands, head to peachguitars.com by clicking the link in the description below. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.